Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I continue to build the Agora Models 1961 Jaguar E-Type. Now I am on pack number 6. Now in pack number 6 we have 8 stages to build, and in just a moment I'll take all these out and show you all those stages that we'll be building. But anyways, if you haven't done so already, head over to Agora Models and subscribe to this build today. It's fantastic and I'm having a blast building it. It's probably the most complicated build I've done so far for Agora Models, and it's fantastic. While you're there, let them know that I sent you. So, it's been a long time. I'm back home in Tucson, and I'm back in my original studio. I have it all set up again and I'm beginning to film again, so I'm back. You should expect to see videos from me just about every day of the week, and I'll take a break during the weekend, but you never know what you may see in these upcoming videos. Anyway, I did receive the part that we were missing from pack 4, and that was the shock absorber body, and that came in. I'm going to go ahead and show you that first in this video. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll go ahead and start first with installing that shock absorber that we were missing the part for in pack 4. So I have the right side hooked up already, and it's just the left side that's missing. So that should be relatively easy to do. And Agora Models was very nice to send replacement parts. And the replacement parts came in pack pack number 27, stage 27, and there's that part that I need right there. So I'll go ahead and take out these parts and I will be right back. And here are all the parts I need to install that shock absorber. We have the outer shock absorber, which was missing, the spring, the inner rod itself, the upper mount pin, and then the AM06 screw. So this is actually from stage 27 where this was done. And I think the first thing we're going to do is install the top of the shock mount to this. And that will insert into that area. And we'll put our pin in. Just like that. And we'll just press it in. Just a little more here. Perfect. Take and put our spring on the lower shock rod. Insert that into there. And then this is going to go right on through the suspension. How that looks there. And before I put a screw into this, I'm going to lubricate it with some Vaseline. And I always do this to all my screws that mount into metal. Makes them easier to go in. And AM06 goes into this. Tighten it down. Definitely helps. And there it is. Now my shock is installed. Now we can move on with pack 6. So I'll be right back and we'll show you all the parts that are included with pack 6. Go ahead and open up pack 6 here. And you can see jam full here of parts. I believe there's 8 stages contained within this. Stage 41 through 48. And here's the first 4 packs, 41, 42, 43, and 44. I'll look at these individually here in a little bit. And the last 4, 45, 46, 47, and 48. Let's look at all the packs individually. This is pack 41, which is the right front tire. We're already mounting that on the rim here. First thing in this stage. Pack 42, which is the front floor panel. Stage 43, which is the floor panel assembly itself. Looks like it's the back part of it. Pack 44, which is the final drive unit, which looks like the differential and some disc brakes. Stage 45, which is the rear subframe. Stage 46, which is the rear subframe left suspension. So we get to work on the left rear suspension with this. A lot of parts here. Looks like it's going to be a blast to build. Stage 47, which is the rear suspension right side. And same thing, we're going to repeat what we did on the left. Looks like a lot of fun there. And the last part stage contained within pack 6 is 48. And this is the installing the rear subframe. Let's get started. And welcome back. Here's parts pack 41. And if you haven't done so already, head over to agoramodels.com and subscribe to this car today. It's fantastic. It's truly an icon from 1961, and that must mean I'm an icon also. So we'll go ahead and take the parts out and we'll get a closer look. And here's a close-up of those parts, and very nice representation of this tire. And tread pattern and everything on that looked great. We also received a washer. It's a metal washer and AM07 screws. Now with this tire, because it's not very pliable, we're going to have to boil this in boiling water, or, heat it up in boiling water. And I'm going to be doing that downstairs on my stove. I'm going to wrap it in aluminum foil and bring it back up here, and we're going to slide it right on to our wire rim that we built in the last pack 5. So if you give me a moment, I'll be right back with that. Okay, so I brought the tire back. I've been boiled it for about 2 or 3 minutes. Nice and pliable. And we'll put this put it on the wheel. Be careful because this can be very, very hot. There it is. Looks great. And it looks like we'll be building 2 more of these wheels, these wire rims, in pack number 7. Very nice there. Next we fit this to the right front hub assembly. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate that. And this should just line up with the slots that are on here. There's a couple of slots that this lines up to, just like that. And that's down in there. Put our washer on. That's this washer here. It's a metal washer. AM07 screw goes into this. And that's good there. Rotates very well. And that completes stage 41. Looks great. Let's go to stage 42. Here's the parts for stage 42, which is the front floor panel. Very light, so I know it's made out of plastic. Let me take this out and we'll get a closer look. And here's a closer look. And like I was saying, it is made out of plastic. No screws came with this issue. See what the underside looks like. And the bottom side. So this goes on to the front area. So we don't actually do anything in this stage. And just like most of the kits I've built in the past, you normally get some parts, you don't do nothing with them, and you move on to the next stage. So let's go to stage 43. Here's stage 43 parts. And this is the rear floor panel. And we did receive some screws with this, so be aware of that. It's light just like the other one, so I'll take it out and we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of the rear floor panel, and it is made of plastic. And you can see just by the shape of it, the rear axle assembly will be falling in underneath there. This is what the underside looks like. But looks pretty cool. Received 5 AGO6 screws. So now we have the front and rear floor panels, and they're going to go together just like that, pretty much. Okay, so we'll turn this over, and we're going to line them up. 4 areas that line up here, and just kind of snap together, kind of holds itself there. AGO6 screws go into this. And the last screw. And that looks good there. And that's all we do for stage 43. Let's go to stage 44. Here's the parts for stage 44. And I'll go ahead and take these out. We'll get a closer look. And here's those parts. We have the upper casing the lower casing. We have some universal joints here. We have brake discs, 2 of them. We have the bonnet catch plate, which is for the hood, AGO4 and AGO6 screws. We're going to install the bonnet catch, and if you look at how I have it positioned here, we want the catch on the lower side. It's going to insert onto the firewall on the back, just like that. AGO2 screw goes into that. It's a very small chrome screw. Hold it in place. And looks good. Here's a close-up of that catch, what it should look like. Next we're going to deal with the brake discs, and these are marked, so make sure you got the correct parts in your bag, which I did. So they're marked with an R for the right and a left for the left. So the R is right here and right there on this part, and the L is on right there, and the L is right there. I'm going to take the left one here and turn this over so it's situated with the rise on this side. So we have the rise on this side, and we're going to insert this in. Only goes in one way, just like that. And that's going to mount to our casing, our lower casing. Turn it over, and that's going to go down just like that onto the lower casing. AGO6 screw goes into that. That's good there. A little bit of play here. I think that's normal. Same thing on the other side. Insert that on the casing. And AGO6 screw. Give myself a little better support here. And that's tight. That looks really good. Now we'll take our cover and put that on. It simply just goes down on top. Just like that. And one AGO6 screw goes into this. And that looks good. And we don't install this yet, but that completes stage 44 for the final drive unit. Looks great. Let's go to 45. So far, that's all we have completed, all the way up to the end of stage 44. Here's the parts for stage 45. Looks like we have the rear subframe and the hand brake components floating in there. Let me take these out, we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. Here's the rear subframe. It is made out of metal. Very cool there. And the parking brake linkage, which is made out of plastic. Very cool. Screws are AGO4, AGO6, and AM18. Now we take our rear subframe assembly and we're going to mount our drive unit. And you can see we have two mounting holes here, and they're going to mount to the drive unit. You want to make sure that the shaft part going out the back is towards that side of the mount. Notice there's no gap here, and there's a larger gap there, so this is just the way you want to do it. You want to insert it in just like that. Okay. Turn it over. So an AGO4 screw goes into the one closest to the edge, and the other one would be an AGO6 behind it. Make sure that you use the two different screws, an 04 here and an 06 here. And resistance on both, they're tight enough. Looks good. That's how that looks there. Very nice. Now we put our parking brake linkage in, and that's going to go in underneath here. There's a couple spots for that. Here's our linkage, and we want it to go just like this, and you can see there's an alignment pin right there on the bottom, and so that's going to fit down just like that, get aligned in. Can you see that? Okay. AM18 screws go into this, but they go in from the top, so this is a little bit fiddly. I'm going to reach in there with the 18. And that's tight there. That looks good there. And it's mounted good right there. And that's all we do for stage 45. Looks great. We're making great progress on the rear drivetrain. Let's go to stage 46. And here's the parts for stage 46. We're going to be assembling the rear subframe left suspension. A lot of parts in here. Let me take these out and we'll get a closer look. And here's all the parts. And I will show you the screws here in a minute. All the parts that are metal are these three items here. Left-hand wishbone, the left-hand half shaft, the universal joint, the mounting plate, coil springs, the hub carrier, shock absorber bodies, shock absorber pistons, and we have three different sizes of pins. We have a real long one here, a medium one, and three short ones. And the screws that are included is AGO4, AGO5, AGO6, and AM16. So we're going to assemble the shock absorbers first, and we're going to put the spring onto this and the piston on top of that. And we have to press this down. Lots of pressure here. AGO5 screw into this. Got to kind of hold it in place and then finish screwing it in. And that's pretty good there. That's how that looks. And we'll do the other one. Hold the piston by hand. AGO5. Got it started a little bit so I can hold the piston. Perfect. And that's how that looks. Now we'll take and turn these like that. We'll go with the subframe. We'll put make sure our pistons are positioned like that, and the subframe is going to go down onto the subframe just like that. Now we have our mounting plate, and short side goes towards the gearbox. Just like that. Flip this over. 2 different screws go into this. Okay. The larger AGO6 screw goes in on the outside here. You can see it's a larger hole for it. That's good there. And the smaller AGO4 screw goes on the other side. Try to hold it. That looks great there. Next, we'll assemble the half shaft and universal joint. We'll be using the shorter pin for that. We're going to insert that into the half shaft. Put our pin in. Just like that. Take my pliers and we'll squeeze this. Very nice there. Now, if you look at the half shaft, it does have a curve to it. And it should be angled upwards. Upwards would be like that. Yeah, away from the subframe. Upwards, away from the subframe. So that angle, up away from the subframe. So that's going to go in there. Onto that universal joint. Take my pin, get it inserted. That's good there. See that? And I'm going to squeeze it. Perfect. Great. Next, we'll put the wishbone on. And that goes on a certain way also. So it just has this positioned. You'll notice there's a notch here that needs to go up towards where your shaft comes out there. And we need to insert that into our shock absorbers. Good there. And looks like it's going to mount onto the subframe. Just like that. And we have one more short pin that goes into this. Okay, so that's inserted. I'll squeeze it. Okay, that looks good there. Now we'll turn this around so I can easily do it. And the medium-sized pin goes into this side. And we'll squeeze that in place. That's good there. So both, we have a short pin for this one and the long medium pin for that. And next we put our hub carrier on, and we want to make sure it's facing up. and that's going to go on just like that. And we'll use a longer pin for that. It's going to insert here and feed to the other side. Press it in. Looking good. I'm taking squeeze it here. Good, like that. And that's in there. And next we're going to put screws in to hold the shocks in place. These are AM16 screws. Got one there. And one more on the other side. And that's great there. That looks great. Love this, man. Love the engineering of this. It's fantastic. And that's all we do for stage 46. A lot to do here, but everything went together very well. Engineering on this is fantastic. I'm very impressed with this. Let's go to stage 47. Here's the parts for stage 47, which is the rear subframe right suspension. And just like the left side, we're going to be repeating everything here. So let me get these out. We'll get a closer look real quick. And here's a close-up of all the parts. We have the right hand wishbone, the half shaft, the hub carrier, spring coils, universal joint, the mounting plate, the shock absorber bodies, the shock absorber pistons, hub carrier, if I didn't say that already. We have a long shaft, medium shaft, and 3 short shafts. Let's look at the screws. AGO4, AGO5, AGO6, and AM16. The first thing we'll assemble is the shock absorbers. And just like before, we'll put the spring on here, and we'll put the shaft in. Hold it in place. As best as possible. AGO5 goes into that. Key is to get it started, thread started a little bit. Hold the shaft and then screw it down. And perfect. And that's how they work. And lay that in there. And we're going to mount this mount assembly with the short side towards the gearbox. Now, you may need to clean up the holes a little bit from the casting. That way this inserts correctly. Turn this over. And the larger AGO6 screw goes on the outside here, has a larger hole for it. Smaller AGO4 screw goes next to it. And that's tight. That's good there. Bring over our half shaft again. Just like before, we want to make sure the side doesn't have the notch on it here. Like you see there. It's all clear. We're going to insert this into there. I'm going to use a shorter pin. Just like that. Squeeze that together. That's That's good there. And we bring over the subframe. Once again, you'll notice that it is curved. We want to have it going up away from the gearbox, just like the other side. Shorter pin goes into this U-joint. And we're going to squeeze that together. Now we get our wishbone. Same thing, we have a hole here on this side of the wishbone. We want to make sure it's facing just like the other side. See there's a hole there. And the hole here, we're going to line this up. Going to put it in the shocks assemblies on it. Just like we did before. I'm going to put that down. Now if you look, didn't really point this out before, we have a longer shaft and a shorter shaft. So that's how your pins go. So this is going to be the short and medium. So we'll get our medium pin and line that up. Just like that. And we're going to squeeze that in. Perfect. And we're going to get our shorter pin on the other side. There we go. Squeeze that in place. Press it in. Good. That looks good there. Now we're bringing over our hub carrier, making sure it's facing up just like before. This is going to have the longer pin. Making sure that everything is cleared through here. That's good there. And good there. Perfect. So we're going to put that in. Real quick squeeze of it there. Good. And the last part, we put our AM16 screws into here. Okay. Great. And that's all we do for stage 47. I love the engineering on this. Everything looks great on this and how the suspension moves. Great. Looks great. So let's go to the final stage, which is stage 48. Here's the final stage, which is stage 48. And we're going to install the rear subframe onto the chassis. And let me get all these parts out. We've got a lot to do here. And here's a close-up of those parts. We have radius arms left and right, and they are marked. We have a right and a left on here, made of plastic. We have a bracing plate. We have 2 safety straps, 2 links, 2 mounting brackets, the rear anti-sway bar, AG01, AG06, AM01, AG06, and AM17. That is an AM01. We're going to go ahead and install the links onto the sway bar. And when you do this, make sure that this little arm faces inward. Simply snaps in place. Be very careful with it. There's one. And the other side, same thing. And that looks good there. Now we'll get our radius arms. And we should have an L on this side right here and an R on the other. So I'll turn this over, and we want to get our arms situated like that and like that. And these will snap in. So I have the R on this side, the right side, and the left side on this one. So left side here. One. And do the right side. There we go. That's how that looks. And we're going to mount this to the rear floor panel. And it's basically going to go down just like that. And put these mounts in place, these little clip mounts. And that's what they look like, the little clip mounts there. Do one side at a time. Put 2 AGO6 screws into this. Do the other side. Line it up. Two AGO6 screws go into this. And that's how that should look there. Now we bring over our subframe. That's going to insert into that, just like that. AMO1 screws go into this. We have to do it from the top. I'm going to put 4 in. AMO1 screws go into this. Put 4 in so far. Lubricated the holes. It's good there. Okay, they are all tight. And that's how that looks there. So, next we got to insert this into that hole there, both sides. Looks good there. Making sure that these line up with the screw holes on the bottom. You can kind of see that, both sides. Okay. Bring over a bracing plate. That goes right there. Lubricate these. Remember, I use Vaseline for my lubrication. Tighten them both down. It's good there. Next we take our straps and they insert here, just like that. AGO6 screws go into this. So make sure it's inserted like it should be on the axle, which it is. Flip this over, put in 2 AGO6 screws. Check it out. That looks great. Do the other, check it out. That looks great. We'll do the other side. Turn it over. And 2 more AG06 screws go into this. And it's tight. That's good there. Turn it over. It looks great. And that's all we do for stage 48. Had a blast building this. This was the final stage for pack 6. And we'll be looking at doing pack 7 here next. But wow, that's a beauty. And that completes pack 6. I enjoyed building this a whole lot. It's been a lot of fun. A little more complicated to build this than some of the other cars that I've built. But if you do yourself a favor, head over to agoramodels.com and subscribe to this car today. Let them know that I sent you. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all video upload notifications. I can use all the subscribers that I can get. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.